Due to technical difficulties, the first 3 minutes of the meeting were not recorded. We picked up from announcements. Thank you. 12 p.m. Hazardous Waste Day will be held at the Highland Township Complex on June 13th from 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. for Highland residents only. Red, White, and Blues Festival and fireworks will be on Saturday, June 27th from 5 p.m. to 11 p.m. On John Street Field. The rain date will be Sunday, June 28th. No rain, please. Township offices will be closed on Friday, July 3rd in observance of Independence Day. The Highland Farmers Market will be open July 11th through October 3rd on Saturday from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. in front of the Township Hall. The Sounds Like Summer concert series will be on Tuesday evenings beginning July 7th through August 11th from 7 to 9 p.m. at Veterans Park, located at the corner of John Street and West Livingston. The Summer Sidewalk Sale, shop local on Friday, July 18th, 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. and Saturday, July 19th from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. sponsored by the Highland Downtown Development Authority. And the next Talk of the Town meeting will be on Wednesday, July 26th at 6 p.m. in the Township Auditorium featuring the Downtown Development Authority. Okay. Moving on. Okay, public comment. Any public comment? No public comment? All right. Next step is a presentation by our auditors, Plant Moran.
Good evening.
Hello.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Good evening. Thank you for allowing us to be here tonight to present the Township's financial statement audit as of December 31st, 2025. I'm Amanda Cronk, the principal that works with the whole Highland team on the audit. With me tonight is the senior, Hannah Hodgkinson, so you see both of our faces quite frequently during the audit. And again, tonight we want to present some highlights for you. Hannah's going to talk through some financial highlights instead of going through the financial statement report. We'll save you that. But a couple of comments really quickly first. Thank you certainly to the board, Tammy, Rick, Jennifer. You guys are an integral part of the audit. Certainly other key members of the team, Robin, Chantel, Cassie. We really appreciate everyone's willingness to work with us through all of our questions and just really responsive during the audit, which allows us to be here tonight to present the results. So thank you for all of that. One thing I will cover in your bound financial statements that look like this is the opinion. So the opinion is really the only part that is Plant Moran's, and that really begins on page 1. Pages 1 and 2 are a lot of words to say we've issued what is called an unmodified opinion. That means that these financial statements are free from material misstatement. That's really the highest level of assurance you can get and is your goal for every audit. So I did want to point that out. But instead of going through this page by page, we've presented some highlights for all of you, and Hannah's going to walk us through those highlights.
Okay, you got to tell the guy to switch when you're ready.
Okay. Oh, okay, yep. Can you hear me okay with this? Loud enough?
Perfect. So yeah, we'll go ahead. Yep. Next slide here. Yep. We're going to start with the revenue side of things. And just like the title says here, this is the total revenue for the general fund and the capital improvement fund. So we're just looking at two funds within the set of the financial statements with this slide. And we want to show these two funds together because the capital improvement fund has primarily been funded by general funds resources for various projects. So it just makes sense to kind of put these together when we look at the revenue and the expense side of things. And like always, we have a ton of different revenue categories up here, with property taxes and the state shared revenue and grants being the largest percentages. The state shared revenue is at 46%, and then property taxes is at 14%. These are pretty comparable to what they've been in years past. The biggest difference here, just to note, would be the federal grants percentage. It's now 1%. Historically, it's been 13 to 14%, but of course, it's because the township used all the ARPA funding, so that explains that difference there. Okay, next slide. So this is the expenditure side of things. Again, the general fund and the capital improvement fund together. And here we really just, a couple key takeaways would be the general government is at 63% of expenditures, which is around 3.2 million, those two funds combined. Public safety is at 16%, social services is also at 16%, and then we have some other smaller categories up there as well. For the year, the total expenditures were the 3.2 million, which is a decrease of around 506,000 from the previous year, so your expenses went down. And I kind of, did some digging, and last year you had
Say that really loud, please.
well, just because there was just a capital project in the previous year that kind of, the Hickory Ridge Park improvement. So again, every township fluctuates with expenditures with big capital projects, and we'll get into the capital project side of things too later in the presentation as well.
One thing I'll add, just, to your point, is your expenditures are going to ebb and flow, especially when it comes to capital investments, right? So when we're looking at these funds are more cash basis. So what was the costs the township incurred during the year? So those fluctuations that Hannah talked about really are driven significantly by capital investments that you're making year to year, along with inflationary increases and things that you're going to see every year. But, it's important as you're looking at those results to say, what's coming at us in the next few years? And we're going to get into that in a couple of slides. But, that doesn't necessarily mean, that should, go and impact your budgeting for this year, because certainly that decrease was related to a large capital increase, a large capital investment last year. So hopefully that makes sense.
Okay, next slide. So again, looking at the general and capital improvement funds, we're specifically looking at the fund balance here. And this shows the last 5 years, the trend. And just a few quick definitions here. There's 3 bars up there. One is even super tiny, it barely shows up. The non-spendable barely shows up. There's not anything assigned to the non-spendable, or if there is, I really can't see it from here. And then there is the unassigned portion, which is like the bright orange color. And these are just spendable funds that you have in the township after considering the committed and assigned categories there. And then the big blue bar is we kind of combine them, the assigned, committed, and the restricted fund balances. And these are really just funds that are assigned, that the township has assigned for a specific purpose. And then committed funds have restrictions on them. And then, again, like restricted funds are to be used for a specific purpose as well. And then non-spendable cannot be spent. So then a major observation, just looking at the 2025 graph there, would be we do see just a increase in the assigned, committed, restricted column for 2025 as compared to 2024. And there's a couple, when you look in the financials, there's a couple like big numbers that are adding to that 5.8 million. And one is the capital improvement fund has a $3.5 million commitment for future capital projects. And then the general fund, there's also the $2 million assignment for future plan expenditures. And again, kind of plays a role in the township's capital improvement plan there too, thinking ahead. And then there's just another small general fund restriction that makes up that 5.8 million for the building departments. And really, just the township, just adhering to your fund balance policy, and then just making sure that, these fund balances up here really represent what you want to do going forward with your plans as well will be an important takeaway. And then just a small thing here too would just be the unassigned fund balance, just in the general fund, is around 2.1 million, and it makes up 62% of general fund expenditures. So this means that the general fund itself, just general fund, can operate for just over 7 months without collecting any revenue. Well, we know this isn't the case, but this measure can kind of help the township monitor like your resources and where you're at, and just compare it to the annual expenditures that the township incurs. But overall, like the general fund is in a stable condition.
So maybe just one quick takeaway for all of you, especially as you're working to finalize your capital plan over the next few years, is really taking into consideration and looking at the fund balances that you do have, because that's going to be an important part of how you're going to execute your capital needs plan, right? So certainly, we wanted to highlight these fund balances because you've done some of the work already in accumulating the resources. And as you're finalizing that capital plan, the next thing you're going to need to look at is what year is that need in, and how is it going to get funded. So looking at the resources that you've already committed and have already set aside, and look at how that fits into that plan. So that's really why we highlighted that for you tonight, especially as you're kind of navigating the execution of that plan.
So the last few slides, we really looked at the activity in a shorter time span with the general fund and the capital improvement fund. This slide is government-wide, so it kind of takes a step back and shows us the long-term picture, as this includes long-term debt and capital assets as well. And this shows a 5-year trend of the government-wide net position. And this is broken out into 3 categories. And for 2025, and I guess for all the bars, the gold bar is the largest one. And this is the net investment in capital assets. And this is simply just the township's value of the capital assets minus the debt associated with those. And again, we would expect the gold bar to be the largest, as this is also including the water assets as well in here, because we are looking at everything on a township level here with this graph. And then just to kind of tag on what Amanda said here, like when you review this graph, really think about planning for capital needs, the longer term picture, and how the funding will occur for any future projects.
So maybe just pointing out one thing that you don't see on this graph would be significant legacy liabilities. So pension and OPEB, other post-employment benefits. And that's because you have taken action. Your OPEB is extremely well funded, but you're not incurring those pension costs that other communities might be. So again, as you're looking at funding, the capital needs you do have, it's important to look at this slide in particular, because your stable position is really due to the fact that you haven't had to incur some of those other legacy liabilities. And Hannah pointing out the size of the gold bar is important, because that isn't resources that are available to the township, right? They're in assets, it's infrastructure in the ground, things like that. So really, when you're thinking about your decisions, it's really focusing on that teal color, the resources that are available, right? And again, this isn't uncommon to see a lot of your assets in, capital nature things. So again, it's just important to be thinking about and making decisions based on what the resources available to you really are. So that's why we pulled the information in on the longer term view, because it's also nice to see what does the township own as far as assets. The next slide is really going to focus on the water fund, and we just have a couple of comments here.
Yeah, so it's just an overall summary of the water fund. And at the item I'd like to point out here would just be the operating loss line. It's a negative $60,418. This is actually a little better than the prior year. And just, be aware that the township's just, barely breaking even with that, honestly. And this really does include the depreciation expense as well. So just like the daily wear and tear of the water system the rates aren't covering that per se, but we know that township's working with the county on that. So just wanted to point that out. Yeah.
And I'll take us home here. So on the right side of this graph, really is focusing on the water fund's net position. So what is the health of this fund overall? Again, not unusual to have most of the net position being the assets, the infrastructure, right? What gets the water to the house, to the homes. So that is 6.5 million of almost 7 million in net position. So what does that mean to all of you? If something happens, like this fund has not been set up to really weather any unforeseen significant capital needs or maintenance needs. So like Hannah said, I know you've been doing a great job of trying to monitor those rates, but really taking a look at what the infrastructure needs are for the water fund as you're navigating and finalizing that plan will be key. And certainly thinking through how is that going to get funded and working with the county to kind of navigate that. Like Hannah said, the operating loss gap has been closing over the last few years, which has helped, but just the annual wear and tear on the system alone is not being covered currently. So again, information is power, so just more information for all of you. The other item we wanted to briefly cover tonight is the end of audit letter that is in your packet. This includes a lot of information and really is a follow-up to the letter that you received when we started our audit. So that letter communicates to all of you how we've planned our audit to go, and this letter is the bookend to that and tells you how it went. I'm happy to report that our audit did go according to plan, and even more importantly, there's something missing from this letter in the form of an internal control letter or a letter that would communicate any material weaknesses or significant deficiencies. The absence of that letter is exactly what you're implying, in that we identified no deficiencies that rose to the level of needing to be communicated to the board tonight. So again, that is not an easy feat to achieve. Not many communities can get through an audit with absolutely no deficiencies. So again, the township has made incredible strides in ensuring the books and records are accurate. And what that also means to all of you is the information that you're making decisions on throughout the year, you can rely on the fact that that is accurate, and we're not making journal entries and making, proposing entries and things like that. So again, that goes to your accounting team and again, really the attention to detail throughout the year. So again, great. This letter does also include some other information, just some new accounting standards coming. We weren't planning to dive into all that tonight, but certainly is there for your reading. should you choose to. So we are certainly happy to take any questions that anyone has.
On your article on water, we're not underwater then, are we?
No,
Thank you.
you're welcome. But again, you know, I think stable is the best word to use. So again, there's other counterpart communities that really are struggling with legacy costs and how to fund those. So I would say you're 2 steps ahead there. But again, I think your biggest focus, and management's already really focusing on that, is what are our most urgent capital needs in the next few years? I know you can't look out much further than that because then it gets a little bit too broad, but just really focusing on that and how we're going to fund those and what makes the most sense given the position you're in. So the best word that I thought we should be using is stable, and really just keeping your eye on that prize, making sure you guys have done a nice job budgeting. I think that those good budgeting practices will serve you well into the next couple of years. And so I would definitely keep your eyes on that as well. But yeah, stable is the word I would use.
You accountants are so wishy-washy.
You know, I don't call it wishy-washy. I call it, just being honest. You know, we get a lot of questions about what does the state say? And it's like every community is different. There's only so many parameters the state can really give you, but it's really looking at what your needs are, whether they're operational or capital, and saying, what can we do within the confines that we have? And I would say that you're in a stable, in a good position to make some of those decisions,
Yeah,
with
we're
good
not-
financial information.
Not gonna buy any yachts or anything like that for public use.
And on one of your slides, the revenue one, it shows that the state share revenue and grants is 46% of our income for general and capital improvement. The state is decreasing the state share revenue for 2025, and we're probably losing about 65,000, they think. They don't know yet, but, I mean, that's where most of our money comes from,
Yeah.
is the state shared revenue.
Well, and that's a great point. So a lot of, some communities are heavily reliant on property taxes. You're heavily reliant on that state shared revenue. So definitely, what the state does with that from year to year,
Right.
and, balancing their budget really does impact you as well. So again, there's a lot of factors, and I use the word confines. Like, you're not the type of entity that can just go and raise, sell more of whatever you make. It's, really looking at, hey, what do we realistically think our revenue is going to be?
Mhm.
And how do we work within the means that we have? Yeah, that's a really good point.
So a good example in that same chart up there for our taxpayers sitting in the audience is the property taxes that you pay to this entity are almost the same as we collect on permits for building and electrical and so on and so forth. So what we get in terms of revenue to operate, with the property taxpayers, it's only 14% of that total. And a lot of people will come in and say, we pay your wages, when they're upset about the cost of the property taxes, and not even close. So it's one of those things that's a misunderstanding. When you get a property, your tax form, it's got a whole bunch of other things that are in there that don't relate to this operation itself. So, your school taxes, county taxes, they go on and on. So I'm proud that we've been able to maintain the level of tax that we collect, which is 0.6 mils. I believe it's been for in excess of 25 years that it's been stuck at that number. So we have not raised taxes for the operations here in over 25 years. And we stayed solvent, and we've actually been able to generate enough revenue on other components to be able to do the things we've done here, save money to build this town hall without any additional taxes, paid for by cash from responsible budgeting and operating. And so we appreciate that 0.6 mils that everybody gives us. And as a result, we give back a lot more. So I want to thank you on that. But if you think about what you pay and what you're paying for our operations, it's 14% of what we require to actually operate. So it would hurt to lose it. We also don't want to increase it if we don't have to, and so we're going to do all we can to keep that way for the foreseeable future. So.
I have a couple thoughts. When you were talking about having a stable picture, I was picturing somebody standing on a wobble board, and the top half of them might look stable, but the bottom half, there's a lot of work going on to make it happen, and that's a team effort from everybody that works here, and starting at the lowest levels of employees and all the way up. So good job to everyone on that. And then also, especially a good job to Robin for her work on bringing us forward with our books. It really shows.
And the most important person in that whole chain is Robin's mother, who's sitting here, that's responsible for providing us with our accounting assistance that has been stellar. So thanks, Mom. Appreciate it very much.
The other word from stable is unstable.
All right, I'm good here. You guys good?
Yeah, and I'm very happy that we have such a good team, and Robin and Chantel are definitely the ones that put the work in the beginning and in the end. And we always enjoy having you guys come out.
Well, we definitely appreciate all of the, accommodations. I know the audit is a lot added on to what you're already doing daily, so definitely appreciate all of you as well.
We plan for it.
Does Plan Moran have a form that if we want to secede from Michigan to another state for better revenue, can we get that form?
I'll let you. I'll do some research.
Good answer.
See what I can find for you. Awesome. Well, thank you all so much.
All right, thanks. The audit is one of those things that for some reason, it always, you think about, what are we going to hear on this thing? But every year that I've been in office so far, Plant Moran has done a really spectacular job. They come back, they give us the reward that we need, which is you telling us that you guys are doing a good job. Our team is doing a good job, and we really appreciate that. So thank you guys, appreciate it.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Have a good night.
Long day.
Trying to come back for this.
Oh. All right. Where were we? New business. Okay, Nick,
We're having a homework. Favorite.
Fire Chief Nick George, has got a request to do some repairs on the 2017 Pierce fire engine. And I have to tell you that Nick and I sat down and went through the list of things that they wanted him to do and things that we know we needed to do, and we're able to pare the cost down quite a bit, and I appreciate that interaction. So these fire engines are pretty complicated, and this thing, through pictures that Nick has showed me, is sitting in pieces right now, literally, getting ready to get put back together. So it's a major repair job, and in order to keep these things living for a long time, we need to pay attention to them. So I'd like to, you have anything you want to add to that?
I can give a rundown of it if anybody like it, but other than that.
In your packet is a list of all the things that are,
Very multiple things, long list. If you guys remember from last year, we agreed to send the engine into Wisconsin to get completely redone, basically. We had a lot of the funds at that time, took out of this year's capital budget to afford it. And then we also, I brought up to, they will come back to us if there's any increase in cost. Because as they tear into things, they'll find more and more things that are wrong with it, but they can't see from the naked eye when they're just looking at it from the street. So of course that's happened, along with the, hopefully, Robin will get part of it claimed on our MML insurance, but due to the time frame it took to get all of this stuff in there and tore apart and find out about it, they might tell us that we're kind of out of luck. So that was part of it that I didn't get to go over with you the other day, was the insurance part. So they've requested us to, Rick and I went over immensely, is another $66,185. And then the insurance aspect, we can't get it covered, is $23,774. So that's $8,000 total. They charged the whole thing. $89,959. Now we have the money in our savings aspect of our capital fund. It just kind of stalls aspect of push back a replacement of a fire truck instead of after 20 years, maybe 21 years, things like that. But it should put a new 20-year sticker on this 6-year-old fire truck engine. So on that aspect, it should get us another 20 to 30 years out of this fire truck instead of just the 20 we were supposed to get originally, and then also the aspect of all these gremlins, I like to call them, or ghosts in the machine that likes to give us all these issues, should be taken care of.
So you actually are asking for $89,959 versus.
If they don't cover the insurance, that'd be the max.
Right, but we won't, I want
I know
that.
if you could put that all in there, and then I just won't spend it all if they cover the insurance.
It's kind of like the same story with respect to keeping the income for employee base. If we don't have it, firemen, we don't have our engine running, we don't have an engine.
so what was the total number?
$89,959.
Okay, you wanna make a motion on that?
I make a motion to proceed with the recommended repairs in the maximum amount of $89,959 minus any insurance coverage
For the 2017 Pierce.
for the 2017 Pierce
Fire engine.
fire engine.
Support.
Good job, thank you. Okay, moved and supported. Anybody have any questions?
Right here. Did you address the budget needs for this, or it's capital? Is
It
what
would come out of our savings and fund balance and capital.
right, and is it already budgeted, or are we gonna follow up later?
I'll do a budget amendment.
Okay,
Robin's
so
got some other things I have to add on my budget with some changes we've had, so.
for next, we'll
Wait
fix
to
it
do a
next
budget
month.
amendment later, yeah.
How much of this, or if any, will extend the life of the engine?
Like I said, this should give us another, it's a 2017, normally we look at 20 to 30 years, we're lucky on the engine. This should renew that 20 years.
Okay.
So I'm expecting to still get another 7+ years.
So we actually looked at all of it from that perspective, in terms, there's like corrosion, the body panels are made from aluminum, you start corroding that and the paint just starts peeling off. A lot of the stuff you can't see because of the way it's built, valves and odds and ends that are back inside the body itself. All of these elements were components that if you fix them, it extends the life. It's not just cosmetic, it's actually life extending, so that's.
I just had a general question, Chief. I think that sounds like a pretty great return on our money to get that much longevity. I'm just curious as to what the going price is for a new engine right now.
That engine we actually paid $650 for back in 2017, and I think if we were to rebuild it exactly today, is 1.2 increase on it. Yeah, unless you're getting a general chassis, like a commercial chassis that everybody's dealing with, things like that, it's very difficult to get them under $1 million.
So we had support on it, didn't we?
Custom-made ones and things like
Yeah.
that, to save money.
Any other questions? All right, thanks, Nick. Let's do a vote, please.
Mr. Salvia,
Salvia, yes?
Mrs. Lewis,
Yes.
Mr. Howe,
Yes.
Ms. Frederick,
Yes.
Clerk Flowers votes yes. Mr. Hamel,
Hamel, yes.
motion carries.
Yeah, it was, when we were going through this list on this fire truck, because I do a lot of stuff myself, I kept looking at it and going, geez, well, that's a lot of money, that's a lot of money. And then I started thinking about some of the expenses for vehicles that I own myself, what they would cost. And you could see that it made sense to invest in the fire truck and quit nitpicking the thing to where you try and stop it from functioning because you're too cheap to make it go forward. And I never expected to put it that way, but that's the way I ended up feeling about it. So, you know, looking at this stuff and getting realistic, unfortunately, the costs are just there. You can't avoid them. So,
Chief, what's the expected time frame from start to finish?
Timeframe?
No, I expect we probably won't see it back till the end of this year, if not beginning of next year, by the time they're all said and done.
So
They
we
went in and we got it authorized to go in back in November or before then, and I don't think they got it in until February or March, and we're just now getting this increased pricing.
will still be covered without it.
Yeah, we have secondary engines and a backup engine, everything we keep in place for all that.
And we originally paid about $650,000 for it.
For the original one, yeah.
So it's not bad after 10 years, putting 10% in repairs, roughly.
that's the right way to put it.
We're good.
Thank you. Well done.
Doesn't feel as bad when you put it that way.
Yeah.
All right, let's vote, please.
We did. We're on to the next thing.
Oh, we did vote on that.
Mhm.
Want to vote again?
No.
Okay.
Yes.
Yes.
Well, then we'll just give it to you guys. All right. Let's see, what was it? Rhinoceros, elephant. That's a cognitive test. I'm trying to see if I've lost it here, so I'm good. All right. Next item is considering approving resolution 26-23 to vacate a portion of Middle Road. Okay, this is a scenario where there's a piece of, a couple of property owners who are in the chairs in front here, and back in the day, whatever day, what year was that, Rick?
45 years ago, 1981.
In 1981, the county came out and moved Middle Road around and tried to improve the curbing and paving and all that. And in the process, they mucked up some property. So,
Only on the map.
yeah, hold on a minute. So, what it does is, if you were to look at it specifically, they don't have a run, you know, they got to drive through this piece of property to get to the road. So they put in a request to approve for road vacation, so that, not to go on vacation, but to be able to legally acquire the vacant piece of land that sits between their parcel and the actual road right away. So,
I make a motion to approve resolution number 26-3 to approve road vacation, a portion of Middle Road.
Support.
okay, any discussion?
So from the drawing, it's just a little black triangle on,
That's my driveway.
I looked at an aerial.
That's our driveway.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I looked at an aerial and yes, it was, you can't tell on the aerial, you can only tell on the map.
So what are you gonna do with all that land?
Well, theirs is bigger than mine. Mine's 3 foot by 10 foot.
Well,
Oh, you have the point of the
No,
triangle.
we have,
Oh,
the point goes across our driveway.
oh, good.
Right up our shed.
well, I thought maybe put like an apartment building in there or something, you know, make it worthwhile.
So then after,
Well, at the original meeting, I did ask that question, what's gonna happen with this property? And Tom Dunlevy told me, don't worry about it, nothing's ever gonna come of it. If I
Famous last words.
Yeah.
So
All right.
after this step, then what you guys do, a land division combination,
I have and I think you already have seen the copies of it because I gave copies to Julie, gave them to Tammy for, both pieces of property, as it would state, by the surveyor, for each part of it.
or? Okay, that's fine.
Perfect, all right. So vote please.
Mrs. Lewis,
Yes.
Mr. Howe,
Yes.
Ms. Frederick,
Yes.
Clerk Flowers votes yes. Mr. Salvia,
Sylvia, yes?
Mr. Hamel.
Hamel, no. Just kidding. Yes.
Motion carries.
Yeah, I voted anyways, don't worry about it.
No, I told them out there in the lobby that I don't see why there wouldn't be any reason this
Is
wouldn't
the
pass. So I had to throw in the,
acquisition of that triangle and the tax?
yeah.
That was a joke.
Oh, we get 0.6 mils on an additional land.
They were already paying on
Oh, bummer.
Yeah, you want to pay us
it.
back?
Yeah.
Yeah, there you go.
Hold on.
And assessments are based on the house value.
All right, well, thank you guys for sitting through this
Yeah, sorry.
Interesting.
goofball at the head here, so I appreciate it very much. Next item is C. It's we've been actually talking about this thing for quite some
Oh,
time.
sometime.
The activity center, as I think most of us know, they do their own printing of their flyers so they can save money and also do their own advertising and so on and so forth in order to produce revenue to be able to help the seniors go on special events and activities and what have you. And they've done a great job of building our activity center up. I mean, it is a booming operation, and I don't know if you've seen the front out there, we have some really cool decorations, giant flamingos, and for, is that Friday night?
Yeah.
Friday night's luau. If you guys are doing nothing, the activity center's having a luau Friday night. So, could be fun. And generate some revenue to help them out. So anyways,
The activity center is doing so well, young people want to hurry up and get old and join in.
Oh, my.
so anyways, what's happened is their printer that they've been putting to heavy duty use has reached a point where the reality is the expense of the printing itself, how many copies they make, is how it's paid for, is expensive enough that the recommendation is to purchase a new printer, which it'll pay for itself in a year, won't it? So the savings on the printing alone will pay for the printer in 1 year. And so I'm going to make the motion that I recommend that we approve the purchase of a new Ricoh IMC 7010 printer copier scanner for $11,031.02 from Applied Innovation, with funds coming from budget line 101-672-938.00 Activity Center Office Equipment Maintenance. Do want to make a note that Applied Innovations is our approved vendor for all of our printers and copiers and maintenance and everything in all our facilities.
Support Salvia.
Okay, moved and supported. Anybody have any questions? All right, vote please.
Mr. Howe,
Yes.
Ms. Frederick,
Yes.
Clerk Flowers votes yes. Mr. Hamel,
Hamel, yes.
oops. Mr. Salvia,
Salvia, yes?
Mrs. Lewis.
Yes.
Motion carries.
All right. Now back to that item. On the
Oh.
plumbing.
Brian, we added an item.
What?
Yeah.
Okay.
Plumbing.
I'm going to say something for you to vote on.
I
Did you
want to
have-
go back to the beginning and go through all the stuff I
Did
missed.
you have something to distribute on that?
Say plumbing?
Did you,
No, you didn't
What'd
get
you
them.
say, Jen? Plumbing?
I can make copies real quick.
Plumbing?
Yep, at, plumbing at 165. North Down Street, the sheriff's station.
Well, I guess I should describe it then, seeing as that somehow we didn't get any copies made. Our copier broke, so we had to go next door, and they wouldn't let us use it, so. All right, well, in this case, what's happened is the plumbing in that building was from the original, that thing was built in the 70s, I think, maybe 60s. And I don't know if they used copper that was half the thickness of normal copper, but we keep getting calls about leaks in the pipes, and you go into the building back room there, and I don't know who's been doing plumbing over the years, but it's, you know, it looks like something out of a nightmare. And every time you touch something, something breaks. And it's at this point where my fear is that as we speak, we could be having a rupture over there. And I'm not kidding. We need to update that building now instead of waiting on it. And the thing is you don't just go in there and remove a piece here and plug a piece there, because then it's just gonna look like it has all along. Now it's a combination of some pieces of plastic, some copper, some galvanized, it's a mess. So the recommendation is that I got a hold of our heating, cooling, and plumbing contractor that we use for our equipment here, Goyette Mechanical, and it's the preferred vendor. And so they put together a proposal. I'll read it to you. So the scope of the work is isolate and drain existing domestic water piping, remove existing copper piping in the mechanical room, abandon existing in-wall. By the way, it's all concrete block, and this is copper shoved down the core of the concrete block, so you can't get to any of the plumbing. Remove all the copper, abandon existing in-wall and above ceiling domestic water piping. There's also a kitchen in there that is in another room halfway across the building. So if you blow a pipe in the ceiling over there, you're gonna flood the whole building. And we just had that all remodeled just a couple of years ago. So new carpet, new paint, new everything. So install the following domestic water piping, 40 foot of 1 inch, 80 foot of 3/4, 60 foot of 1/2 inch, hot water, 100 foot of 3/4, 60 foot of 1/2 inch. New water piping in restroom to be surface mounted on unistrut. The truth is if you keep it exposed, you can always fix it, especially in a building like that, because it's a concrete block. Piping to be PEX with brass fittings. Route new piping above ceiling adjacent to existing piping to be abandoned. Piping above drop ceiling to be secured to surface above. Provide isolation valves above ceiling for each room. Furnish and install 6 bluefin natural colored line set cover to conceal surface mounted water piping. So it'd be behind a plastic cover, so it wouldn't look like red and blue PEX running up and down the wall. The proposed project cost is $12,778. That's it, so.
Motion to approve, Sally.
Any support?
Oh, sure. Support.
Okay, moved and supported. Anybody have any questions?
Now, where's the money coming from? Where are we taking it from? What's the real plan?
These guys are gonna give us the money from that triangle that we're gonna have to sell in order to.
After the 30 cents, where's the rest of it coming from?
They found oil in that triangle.
Okay, this is, yeah, we got it here. It's coming from appropriation fund balance.
Okay, just curious.
General fund.
No, there's a budget amendment written
For the
to take it out of capital improvement.
Okay, that's a separate vote.
Okay, cool.
All right, vote please.
I have a question.
Yeah.
I am not opposed to approving a budget amendment to provide the funds for this. I think there are some other options that you could follow process-wise. You have the ability to make an emergency decision on your own without a board vote. And I think that might be more fitting here because we haven't had a chance to review even just the one quote. I think personally for me, in order to vote on something, I would need to see multiple quotes and have a chance to, time to look at them, to review them. So I think it would make more sense for us to just approve a budget amendment and then allow you to make an emergency decision if that's what you feel is needed. Or you could alternatively get a couple quotes and do the email process as well, or alternatively.
Well, I'll give you an answer to that. The reason we put it on the board meeting tonight is because it's a potential, I'm gonna call it an emergency. So as soon as we get an okay on this, we're calling them up and we're gonna have them come out and get it done. Because ask Lieutenant Snyder, any day that could come unglued and we could have $100,000 or more, and maybe $500,000 in damage if it ruins all their equipment.
Well, and Tammy, I think Tammy agrees with you.
Yeah, we.
I'm not
we
saying
agree.
it's not an emergency.
I don't, no.
I'm just saying the process for approving an emergency is for the supervisor to make the decision based on information that you have. We don't have that information. So I think we should just approve a budget amendment to make sure the funds are there to do it and let you make your decision about if it's an emergency, you go with it, or if you feel like you could get other quotes, then you can email them out to us for us to vote on it.
Okay, so currently we have a motion with a second.
Yeah, and I'm gonna call for a vote.
Okay.
Because I'm calling it an emergency. We're gonna get it handled tonight in full, no additional messing around. I know you don't like that process, but that's the process we're gonna do tonight, if everybody approves it. If not, then we'll have to re-motion things, so.
Are we ready to vote?
Yes.
Okay. Ms. Frederick?
Yes.
Clerk Flowers votes no. Mr. Salvio?
Salvia, yes.
Mrs. Lewis?
Yes.
Mr. Howe?
Yes.
Mr. Hamel?
Yes,
Motion carries.
and I want to make it very clear, that's, the clerk has every right to make the position she holds.
Are you going to make a motion about the budget amendment?
Yes, that's next.
I make a motion to approve the budget amendment as
Present,
presented.
wherever that went.
Support.
Okay,
Any discussion?
vote please.
All right. Clerk Flowers votes yes. Mr. Salvio?
Salvia, yes.
Mrs. Lewis?
Yes.
Mr. Howe?
Yes.
Mrs. Frederick?
Yes.
Mr. Hamel?
Yes,
Motion carries.
all right.
Are they coming right now?
Yeah, they'll be there in a couple
Very
of
good
minutes.
lady.
Yes, coming back.
Cassie, could you
Army of the
call them?
Plumbers.
Okay. The next item, I want to make a motion to move into closed session to consider an attorney-client privilege communication in accordance with MCL 15.268(1)H.
Support.
Moved and supported. Vote, please.
Oh, let's see. Mr. Salvio?
Salvia, yes.
Mrs. Lewis?
Yes.
Mr. Howe?
Yes.
Ms. Frederick?
Yes.
Clerk Flowers votes yes. Mr. Hamel?
Hamel, yes.
Motion carries.
All right.
Recording stopped.
All right, so what we're doing is we're gonna go back in the back room and we're gonna talk about some stuff that we can't talk about here. And if you guys wanna leave, there probably won't be a whole lot that makes any sense to you afterwards. So you don't have to stay.
Since you already have copies of those, I'm sorry, since you already have copies of those surveys that I had given you and Julie,
I think you're coming to.
is that all you need for,
I don't.
to be finished?
I passed it along to Cassie.
Okay.
I don't have that stuff anymore. I gave it to Cassie.
All right, so should I talk to her then?
Yeah. See
Okay.
where she's at.
Okay.
Recording in progress.
Okay, we're returning from closed session, and I'd like to make a motion that
Return from closed session.
that we return from closed session.
Support.
Moved and supported. Vote, please.
Okay, hold on. I'm not ready. Mrs. Lewis,
Yes.
Mr. Howe,
Yes.
Ms. Frederick,
Yes.
Clerk Flowers votes yes. Mr. Salvio,
Salvia, yes?
Mr. Hamel.
Hamel, yes.
Motion carries.
Okay, on that note, meeting adjourned.